So hello there. It's the early hours of the morning here in Houston. A Saturday diary for a special occasion, and that's Pico Lopes and Cape Verde qualifying for the last 32 of the World Cup, the smallest nation to ever make it to a World Cup knockout round. And obviously, I mean, there was an Irish flag on the pitch last night, as it is now, because there is an Irish player in the heart of this, Pico Lopes, who was excellent again as Cape Verde did what they had to do to get through. It wasn't a great game. If you decided to sleep through it, you didn't miss a huge amount. But what you did miss is the emotion afterwards. The moment where the Cape Verde players come off the pitch after drawing a game they probably should have won. They'd missed some chances, but the news came through that Spain had beaten Uruguay, that there'd be no late twist in that match. And yeah, the African side, who were certainly included beforehand as maybe an example of the expansion of this competition and the smaller teams that have been allowed into it, they've qualified on merit with a top two finish. And yeah, as they knew all week, it was quite likely they were going to go through as the second place team if results went to form. As much as we were talking about third place scenarios, you always had a feeling of that Spain would beat Uruguay, and as a result, Cape Verde's fate was in their hands. They've come second, and they are off to Miami to face Argentina and Lionel Messi, which is an extraordinary story. Like the latest, I suppose, surreal aspect of this adventure for Pico. He was brought into doping afterwards. It's always a bit of a downer because you miss some of the celebrations, and he had to get straight back on the bus then to go back to the team hotel. But I'm very grateful that he did give me the opportunity to go down to the hotel where there was a lot of Cape Verdean fans outside, autograph hunters, people looking for pictures or just to have a conversation with any of the players. He invited me down to go down and catch up not just with him, but also with the family and friends, some of whom you might have seen on this diary over the last couple of weeks. But now there was a sense that they were all actually coming together and able to really enjoy this moment. So I suppose first of all we'll hear from Judy, Pico's mother, who is due to travel home on Saturday with Carlos, his dad. Their trip was scheduled around 3 games. She's due back in work in Loreto Primary on Monday, as you'll hear her say here. But yeah, I think for her, just the enormity of it sunk in. I did hear from her earlier in the day on Friday, and her attitude was, well, whatever happens, we're going to celebrate the moment afterwards. But I think, like everyone, once they got to the stadium, they realised, no, it's not just about celebrating getting here. It's about Pico and the team doing enough to stay here. And that's what happened. So yeah, we'll hear a little bit from Julia now about her feelings towards the day and also towards what might happen next for her.
Oh my God, I'm lost for words. I don't think the result has sunk in yet. I'm sure it will tomorrow though, but we're just all so emotional at the moment. We can't believe what's happened, and they've managed to get through to the next round.
So the plan is to go home?
Unfortunately, yes. We have to return tomorrow. I'm due back in work on Monday, but you never know what might happen if I talk to my principal very nicely. We'll see. But my husband is retired, so he's going to try and come back.
What's it been like tonight with all Carlos, his family, Pico, Elia's family?
Yeah.
What's it been like having this moment together?
It's just been wonderful, honestly, to have so many family around us, supporting us here and at home. It's just been unbelievable.
Yeah, you told me you went into the stadium just to compose yourself.
I did, yeah.
Just tell me about that. What were you feeling?
Yeah, so once we got to the stadium, we were there with plenty of time to spare, and I could feel my stomach getting a bit heebie-jeebie. So I found my seat by myself, and it was almost empty. And I had almost an hour to myself just to compose myself and to reflect. And yeah, it calmed the nerves.
Yeah. And Argentina now,
Yeah.
Messi, like,
Who would have expected
you
that?
couldn't write it.
No, no. And Pico defending Messi, the best player in the world. I mean, what a story.
Yeah. So are you tempted to try and come back?
Very.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and if my principal, Mary Galligan, you know who you are? No, I have to say, I'm blessed with a wonderful principal and a wonderful staff, and I'm sure we can work something out.
Yeah, it's Friday, so I mean,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
miss.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, you will see here. Judy was going around with a banner from home. She was getting Vazenia to try and sign it in the lobby. I think Vazenia's mother not on tape, but she was downstairs. She's one of the big celebrities of the trip now. She was able to come over here after the appeal when she wasn't able to afford the bond for the visa for the Spain match, and that just reflects like the extraordinary family journey here. So while I was also talking to Leah, Pico's wife, and his Martin, his father-in-law, and Christopher, his brother-in-law, and some of the people that have been in that camper van that we've chronicled that story. It was also good to chat with some of his extended family from Connecticut, and that's the thing. Like, as you know, Carlos is from a family of 10 children. 6 of them emigrated to the States, and one of his sisters is Helena, who was present along with her daughter-in-law Diana. I just spoke to them briefly, just again about what it means for them, because it is this like sort of communal celebration that isn't just about like the immediate family. It's almost been about almost reconnecting as a sort of a wider Lopez family unit. So yeah, let's hear a little bit from Elena here.
This has been great. It's been wonderful. It's been like a dream. It's been
It's really beautiful just to see all the fans and all the people that have come to watch Cape Verde play.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
What does it mean when you think of your family story? I've seen pictures of your dad back home who's like 99 years of age, and that the Lopez name is now on the world stage. How does that feel?
oh, it feels so. It feels great. It feels very. It's emotion sometimes because, like my father said, he didn't wait. Wait to live for 99 years old to see his grandson play in a World Cup.
Yeah.
So that was a dream come true.
Yeah.
Yes.
And now the fact that next Friday playing Messi and Argentina in the World Cup, I mean, whatever has happened to now is amazing, but it's almost like a dream, I suppose, that next step, isn't it?
Yeah, we can't wait to watch it. It's going to be a really crazy game.
Yeah.
But yes.
What's it been like to meet like all the family, all Pico's sort of Irish family as well, and to get to know each other? It's sort of a
It's been a happy moment.
Yeah.
Every game is a happy moment. Is a happy times, and we all there strong supporting every game, everywhere, every time.
Yeah, so for Helena and her family, it's going to be a bit more straightforward to get to Miami next week. It's just going to be one domestic flight, I think. A little bit more complicated for all of Pico's Irish crew who are going home. Some are definitely coming back. Others are thinking about it, need a bit of persuasion. You kind of hope over the next couple of days people will be understanding or help them find a way, because it is sort of a once in a lifetime thing. You can't get away from that story. As much as I think it's important to stress like that. Pico has played very well in the games, and you speak to people who know him, they say one of his strengths is he doesn't get overawed, and he has played in a lot of big games before, just obviously nothing quite on this scale. I think there is a wider recognition that this is Messi. This is the biggest story in world football is Messi's pursuit of the World Cup again. Having done it 4 years ago, but now like he's scored all of Argentina's goals to this point, and the fact that this like global tale is now going to sort of intersect with this Irish angle of one of the stories of the World Cup. It's just a weird one of sort of worlds colliding. So going to hear a little bit of Pico afterwards. I mean, we're just speaking a little bit generally about that area, maybe some of the conversations he's been having with his friends and his feelings around Messi, but also his feelings about just playing some of these players in the competition and realising that as much as he's looking at them as part of their homework, they're going to have to look at him, and I think that's one of the things he's getting his head around with the whole journey.
I know you're going to be approached now. Like, it's not, you're not there for like to crack, but it's a great thing to be able to. You're going to be doing analysis, looking at Messi across the next meet.
No, this is what you said there, right? And I've said this to Bucco and Lee back home as well. Like, like the crazy thing is like you have players like Pedri, you have players like Yamal, Laporte, Rodri. They're looking at us. They're analysing us, which is mad when you think about it. Do you know what I mean? Like, to have some of our players be looked at by the very best. Argentina will do the same, and like even that's a compliment done beyond that sort of stage with them as well. Like, but we got to do our homework as well. We had to see how we stopped them and how we could potentially hurt them. But we don't want to just take art. You want to try and compete. I've said that from the get go, and nothing changes.
So yeah, obviously Pico in very good form, and it was just nice to see get a little bit of a behind the scenes look. But I must say, like, it was a bit raucous in the stadium after. I got some footage of the Cape Verde players coming through the mix zone, and not quite a conga line's the wrong way of describing it, but sort of a bit of a dance, a bit of a celebration, which you don't normally see in these competitions. Even the FIFA people, you're not normally meant to record these things, but they were like, hey, look, this is a good news story. I think everyone's sort of happy with this good news story, the fact that it just keeps delivering. But I think it's important as well to stress that, like, they are a sort of a pretty serious and experienced football team as well too. And I think there's a balance between recognising the symbolism of what they're doing, and they all have a family story. We hone in on the Pico aspect, but all the players, like, there's players, I spoke to a couple from with a Dutch background who, again, for them this is of huge significance in terms of their roots. But leaving all that to the side, like, they've actually played like a proper team here, a very well organised team here, and what everyone will expect Messi and Argentina to prevail next week. Cape Verde they are sort of dangerous to underestimate in terms of making it a proper contest. But there is, I have to say as well, there is still at the same time a sense of being able to enjoy the bigger picture of what they're doing. So yeah, I'm off to Mexico next. I had other plans next week, but sometimes you just got to go to Miami to see an Irish guy play against Messi in the World Cup. That's going to be pretty good.